Have you ever wondered what happened to the legendary Chuck Norris? I recently saw a video he made and I was shocked. He's in his 80s and still kicking butt and working out and staying active. He did this by just making one change. Chuck says he still feels like he's in his 50s. His wife even started doing this one thing too, and she's never felt better. She says she feels 10 years younger, her body looks leaner, and she has energy all day. Chuck made a special video that explains everything. Make sure you watch it by going to chuckdefense.com/inspired or by clicking on a link below this video. It'll change the way you think about your health. Once again, that's chuckdefense.com/inspired or click on a link in the description below to watch the video now. If the legendary Chuck Norris can do this at 81 years old, so can you. Watch his method by clicking on the link in the description box below. chuckdefense.com/inspired.
A quick screen of your iris. That's all it could take to create a digital ID that doesn't reveal your name or other personal data. That's the basis of WorldCoin, a project aiming to create a global network of such identities. More than 2 million people have signed up since its launch by Tools for Humanity, the tech firm that counts the CEO of OpenAI, Sam Altman, as a co-founder. Now, to start, you need to scan your eyeballs using an orb like this that's available in more than 30 cities worldwide. In just seconds, a unique online ID is created and digital tokens are issued as a reward, though not to users in the US due to regulatory concerns. These are also called world coins, with token prices rising above $3.50 on the project's debut before dropping.
I'm making money, even in my sleep. I don't need to do anything except to verify I'm a human.
Part of WorldCoin's mission is to tackle challenges arising from AI, like deepfakes and bots.
It first ensures that whatever is interacting with the device is an actual human being. The data control is with the user, and there's no centralized entity that actually has the information of who you are, where you're from, all of these things.
WorldCoin has already sparked plenty of controversy, not least because fallen FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried was one of its early backers. There's also debate over whether sensitive data are being safely handled.
How they protect a user's privacy is quite questionable. Their protocol is not really public.
WorldCoin says paying participants is a step toward a crypto-based universal basic income. However, it's faced criticism from the likes of MIT for targeting consumers in the developing world first.
So there are a lot of vulnerable people probably feel very inclined to participate, not because of they really want to participate, but because they don't really have a lot of other income.
WorldCoin's raised more than $500 million to date, though Sam Altman himself has said the path ahead is uncertain, even with all the hype.
It's here, you can get your eye scanned on the orb. And again, I think it's going to deliver real utility as we go into this brave new world.
As we go into this brave new world. Hey, Inspired Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers, John Nolan here. Thank you so much for tuning in. It is Tuesday, April 9th, 2024, and we are healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, we're free. The mantra of the Inspired live streams, and yet we're winning. I mean, we work on it every day. I want to welcome everybody in the live chat. Tony is here. Good to see you, my friend. Sharon. Ronnie is here. Stuart is here. Oh my God, the whole crew. Pure Water. Wow, welcome everybody. Erica is here. Good to see you. Of course, Christine's the wise thumbs in the live chat. Life by Design. Andrea, good to see you, everybody. Crypto Beauty, thank you so much for tuning in. Listen, first thing I'm going to ask you is, yes, please do hit that like button and please do share this. Content like this that is in any way, shape, or form critical of AI, a critical discussion around AI and all the implementation is heavily censored and heavily disregarded by the algorithms. Okay, so that's that. The second thing before we go into the subject of today's live stream is I want to quickly address the comments, the plethora of comments about the solar eclipse and how nothing happened and how it's just another nothing burger. And frankly, if you listened to my live stream yesterday morning, and before that, I never said that something specific would happen. But here's what I want to give you a little bit of perspective. In October of 2019, there was a big exercise called Event 201 that specifically international agencies, corporations, health agencies, they all got together in New York and they had this huge exercise for a novel coronavirus outbreak. Okay? If the world at that point, and if the alternative media and everybody involved would have pushed this subject out on a large scale, perhaps the last 4 years would have been very different. We don't know that. What we're saying is the whole purpose of looking at very unusual behavior by the governments, the whole purpose of looking at chatter in the intelligence and military community and analyzing that is to see if something might be planned. If millions and millions of people hear about that, they hear about the states of emergency, the disaster declarations, they hear about threats of power shutdowns, grid shutdowns, and cyber attacks. If they hear about that on a large scale, oftentimes such plans can't come to fruition. So what we're doing is basically saying, here is what we're finding. Look at this, share this with your friends. If a lot of people are aware of this, and there's two things that can happen. A, because the plans are so exposed, it is not feasible to see them through. B, people are redirecting their attention to other things. Okay, so this is that. I wanted to address that. I want to go into today's subject of this. This is one company, WorldCoin and Tools for Humanity, founded by this. We're going to look into the founder a little bit, and Sam Altman, who's also the founder of OpenAI. Now, who is financially involved in OpenAI other than the the intelligence community? Also Microsoft, who funded it with initially $1 billion and then upped their funding. Now, OpenAI, which is the parent company of ChatGPT, DALL-E, and all the other AI tools, is today valued at around $30 billion. Okay, so this is through the private sector, the intelligence community funding this whole thing. And Sam Altman is also involved in WorldCoin, a co-founder, and Tools for Humanity. Now, this is an interesting thing. It entails many variables, but what I was curious to see, because I wanted to talk about this subject, is how they used the word orb for this device that they created, right? And this device is supposed to be in their stores and in other places where people can walk up and have their basically digital ID, their world ID, created through an iris scan. Of course, they called it orb. We know the word orb from a metaphysical or spiritual perspective. People that are into photography, Christine used to photograph so many orbs for many years. And so these words are being reused and all being brought into the AI technology space. So the true meaning and the origins are disguised. So what is this thing? What are we talking about here? Like we say, the entire world is undergoing the digital revolution, if you will, right? So we've seen this over the past 15, 20 years, more than that, but specifically and especially since the advent of the smartphones in the late 2000s and early 2010s, since the mass adaptation of smartphone usage, this was the threshold. Since then, we have entered the era of Internet of Things. More and more devices, appliances are connected to the internet. That's why they are pushing so hard for a 5G, 6G, and 7G grid, for Starlink, for a complete interconnectedness of all things, which includes the biological realm and includes the digital, the technological realm. There should be no more barrier. That's their whole goal. And this particular step, there's a few hard steps. There's a lot of soft steps that we as a society, or people as a society, are taking without even knowing them, when they adapt new technologies like contactless payments with their phones or with their palms or stuff like that. Those are sort of the soft steps. But then there are the hard steps. And these include CBDC, central bank digital currencies, or digital currencies at that, a digital social credit system, which is, the next big thing that they will try to push more openly. And of course, a digital / biometric / health ID. This will all be one thing. And this particular piece that we're talking about today, like WorldCoin with their World ID, they are a private company, but they're suggesting to become the company that will create this barrier for people to access the internet to prove their humanness, right? And I want to show you a clip here as the founder and his team are talking about it. Just pay attention to subtleties, also body language, stuff like that. But of course, to what they're saying.
AI is going to happen, and it will change how the economy operates, and it will change how the internet works in very meaningful ways. So there are certain parts of the internet where we clearly need a human gate, almost. Like, you can only enter this if you're an actual human being, otherwise please stay out of this. And that is what World ID is in its purest form. We believe that, and I think at this point it's fairly obvious, that in the coming years, 90+% of everything we interact with and see will be somewhat created or enhanced by AI. It's not a problem for everything. Actually, it's very fun and cool for most things because it's just very entertaining. You will be able to create the perfect song that you like just with kind of a simple ask. You will be able to create the perfect video. So these are all great things. But there's other parts of the internet. I think X or Twitter is actually a good example where it's not in all of our interest if people with certain interests can influence broad public opinion with tens of thousands of instances of AI that follow a certain idea. But now we are in the situation where I really do believe in the next 2 years we are faced with two options. Either we will enforce government KYC at a pretty large scale for many things that we use, or we use World ID. Fundamentally, on a protocol level, it's two things. It is a way to verify humanness truly at population scale, independent of governments, able to scale to billions of people. And that is what we call World ID, which underlying is a biometric verification device that we call the orb, that you see here, that actually allows us to do that. So that is World ID, that's building block one. And two is a digital currency called WorldCoin, that everyone that actually verifies for World ID receives ownership in it.
So when we set out to solve this problem of how do you figure out what is a real and unique person, we tried a bunch of different things that you can imagine, right? Verifying people's emails and phone number, verifying their official documents like a passport, doing complex algorithms to have people endorse each other, and a bunch of other things. And at the end of the day, you realize that the only thing that is privacy preserving, inclusive, and honestly just actually secure is biometrics.
I know it sounds scary, it's just from like sci-fi novels, etc., Minority Report. It turns out it's the only way to, in an inclusive manner that allows everybody in the world to participate, to issue such a proof of unique humanness.
So what is interesting about this whole concept is that they're turning, and this is a concept that has been used now for a long time. It's like in the legal system, right? In the common law system, you are innocent until proven guilty, right? In most legal systems today, practically, as soon as you're accused, you are assumed guilty until you prove your innocence. As a matter of fact, most Central European legal systems operate that way openly. And these folks have said, listen, we're assuming you're not human until you prove your humanness. You have to appreciate in a twisted way the way of thinking here. It isn't that we're working on identifying fake content. It isn't that we're working on limiting the destructive uses of AI. It isn't that we're thinking about that. No, we're thinking of having to prove to each other that we're human, and that's where we are in this discussion. This is not 20 years. This is not future. This is not something that's coming, friends. This has been here. Why is this a problem? People, believe it or not, in discussions say, well, perhaps we should have ID requirements to access the internet. And frankly, and practically speaking, most people that have internet at home already have that. They provide their social security number, their ID to even get internet service. But there's all kinds of other places that you might use the internet where you don't do that. You could have a prepaid phone and access the internet that way. You could go to an internet cafe, whatever. And we are now basically saying that the digital space is going to be exclusively usable only to those who are willing to be completely surveillable in every way, shape, or form. And to tell us in the year 2024 that this is anonymous and that there will be no personal data connected to these iris scans, it's the biggest joke. And somebody honestly, when the kid said that, I wanted to slap him, because it's like, who do you think you are? It's not our first round. This is not our first time around the block. We've been here. It's not our first rodeo. We know how these things work. Everything that they can do, they will use. But we're speaking not of a singular thing here, and this is not a singular topic. This is one huge paradigm shift. And while we are in this community and many other communities actually discussing and discovering what our true spirit is and what we're capable of, these folks are saying, listen, the Homo sapiens, this version of humanity is on its way out, and we simply have to go with the plan here. Everything is going to be AI. So what is the problem if you have to have a biometric iris scan before you can access the internet? Well, let's look at a current legislation in Scotland that just went into effect last week. Okay, so I'm going to read this to you. And this is the Hate Crime and Public Order Act of Scotland. Much discussed, went into effect, of course, on April Fool's. What else? The sweeping legislation, which went into effect last week on April Fool's Day, no less, makes it a criminal offense punishable by up to 7 years imprisonment to stir up hate against a protected identity group. Okay, so I mean, nobody wants to see hate against anybody, right? Sure. Let's look at this. Protected characteristics include religion, which carve-outs permit one to discuss, criticize, ridicule, or insult, as well as sexual orientation and transgenderism, which citizens are permitted only to discuss or criticize. So we have to make clear, when you are discussing religion, then you can ridicule it and insult it. But if you're discussing transgenderism and sexual orientation, you can only discuss and criticize it, but not ridicule and insult. So, can you imagine these bunch of complete morons, complete idiots sitting in a room coming up with this shit? I mean, you just have to laugh at these morons. It's unbelievable. Okay. A single source is sufficient to prove an offense occurred. A single source. So we're way past proving anything here. No specific victim is required. This is the basic premise of common law. There has to be a victim. If there's no victim, there's no crime. This is a basic premise, okay? Doesn't apply here. The law gives the police powers of entry, including the seizure of property against suspects. Citizens disturbed by wrongthink can drop into Stasi-esque reporting sites across the country, which include, please don't laugh, an LGBT sex shop in Glasgow. So, by the way, it's no problem if you hate on white people, white Christians especially white male middle-aged Christians, white male old Christians. You can hate on them and insult them every day of the week. Because after all, these old Highlanders are what built Scotland, right? A proud and beautiful people. Very bony. Very bony. And so you have these proud and beautiful people with such a rich history dealing with this complete idiocy and bullshit. But why am I bringing this up? Because if you are identified and absolutely pinpointed every time you access the internet, and you say what I just said. In Scotland, you could be imprisoned for up to 7 years for hate speech, because you say that giving puberty blockers and transitioning procedures to children should be punished. I think this is the most horrific form of abuse. It's child abuse. It's nothing different. If you start transitioning in 10, 11, 12-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old child, puberty blockers, procedures, surgeries, you should be locked away, and the key should be lost. You are insane. You are certifiable. You need to be removed from society, both as a parent and as a doctor. Absolutely. And anybody else who has any part in it. You are insane. You're insane. You're a child abuser. Bye-bye. If you say that now in Scotland, you might be in for a few years in prison. Okay. The only standard to determine whether a crime has been committed is if the person's conduct is something that a reasonable person would consider to be threatening, abusive, or insulting. Now, what the hell is a reasonable person in the year 2024? Because is it the screaming gender fluid, non-binary folks on TikTok? Are those the reasonable people who determine whether an offense was created? This is literally a law in Scotland in effect today. Now you pair that with the digital and biometric ID crap. You go online, you have a channel, you simply leave a comment, you have a Facebook discussion with your family members, and you just go, oh, this has gone too far. You know, they have drag queen shows in kindergarten now. I think this is horrible. These drag queens should stay away from my children. Boom. That's a hate crime. Not them sticking their asses in little children's faces. No. That's not the crime. You saying that's wrong is the crime. This is the insanity. And if we continue to look away and pretend that this isn't affecting us or won't affect us, won't have an effect on our lives, it's already having a huge impact. We're already raising a generation that has to deal with this bullshit, that has to have such spiritual resilience to ignore all this crap. So this is what they're looking at in Scotland. And here's what I'm saying, and I'll put it up big here. If a law is unjust, a man is not only right to disobey it, he's obligated to do so. And of course, this goes for women too, but this quote happens to be, I think, from the 1800s, maybe 1700s. It's been Thomas Jefferson has been credited and others, but we can't say for sure, but it's a good quote. If a law is unjust, a man is not only right to disobey it, he's obligated to do so. That's for the Scottish people. The truth is, all of this digital and biological merger, the IDs, the scans, the biometric, the facial recognition, none of it is necessary. There is an artificial debate created around artificial crap that this is somehow necessary for our safety and our protection. Well, this place has been around for a very, very long time. Humans have been around for a very, very long time. Most parts of it, apparently, we didn't have facial recognition. We didn't have biometric scans. We didn't have that. And it doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve me. It serves one agenda, and one agenda only, is to have complete and utter control over every aspect of your life, including what you think, what you eat, what you say, what you share, what you fear, what your dreams are. They want to see everything. Remember, we talked about the transparent brain that they discussed at the World Economic Forum, brain transparency, where employers will be able to, at all times, access your brain activity, including seeing what you think about and what you dream about. If you think this is all non-existent futuristic technology? No, it's all here. The question is, of course, are we simply reverse engineering something that's been controlling this realm for a long time? There's a good possibility that AI has been in control. And either humans are trying to compete with it, take it out, or it's simply another layer of AI moving in. I frankly don't know, but we have to ask the questions. The greatest or the biggest problem that I have is I know where my decision is. I know where my red line in the sand is. I know what I will never do under no circumstances, because as we discussed yesterday, I know this physical experience is very brief and it's not who I am. So if for some reason I have to choose between the end of my physical experience and going into this biometric AI dystopian crap world, well, I'll pick the first option every single day. I don't care. That's fine. You know. But we have some fundamental decisions to make. And most people can't make a choice because they don't even know this is going on. And they don't want to look at it. It hurts them. It hurts their spirit. It brings down the mood. It's conspiratorial, although it's not, because it's everywhere. Because you go today to the grocery store and you pay with your palm. And millions of people have voluntarily implanted chips. Others have, unbeknownst to them, received nanotech into their bodies. We are at this juncture. And there are no referendums. There's no public debate. I don't hear from any political party real opposition to this. I don't hear anybody saying this is my stand. We're going to be, for the lack of a better term, the pro-life, real pro-life, not talking about this abortion issue, but we're going to be pro-biology, pro-human, pro-spirit. And on the other hand, we're going to be very much anti-technocracy. I don't see that party. I don't see any of those candidates that people are cheering for really taking a stand on this. No, they're just saying, well, we should go slow on certain things. We should make sure it's all safe. Listen, they're saying it. This is about how humans interact with the world of AI. They already call it the world of AI. They've already labeled it is already in ownership of AI. And now we have to find our place in this for as long as we want to stick around, because the Homo roboticus is what is really the next step. So we can talk about beautiful spiritual things ad infinitum every single day. If we don't address this as adults living in this matrix here, living in this reality, if we don't address this, the waves rolling over us, and then you only have a few choices left, which I think are starting to become more and more attractive, to leave this madhouse, leave this society, find a spot somewhere in the wilderness, somewhere out there, be very harmonious with nature, make friends with the animals, and stay away from the large section of humanity. Everybody's going insane. The amount of people that are cheering for this. Oh, let's just have our iris scan. Let's just look into this ball they call the orb. Oh, it's going to be so amazing. Let me ask you this. Why aren't the agencies that have this technology, by the way, have had it for a very long time, why are they not using it to shut down trafficking? Why are they not using it to shut down child pornography? Why not? Why not minimize, not reduce? Why not end it? Why not end it? You can't tell me that with all this technology in place, this isn't possible. Of course it's possible. Of course they could do it. There has to be a will. And I guess it's just too good of a business in many ways to stop it. You can't tell me that if you can use ChatGPT and the other tools today to write a book in about 5 minutes, not even kidding you, write a book in 5 minutes and have it marketed, have it produced and marketed within a matter of a few hours out into the world. You can do that. And these powerful tools can gather any and all information from the internet at all times in lightning speed. But yet you can't eradicate trafficking and child pornography from the internet, child abuse. I mean, the horrific. You can't do that. Yeah, because they're not willing to do it. There will be an entry point for every section of society. They will sell this differently, by the way, to everybody. To the youth, like somebody mentioned in the comments here, will be easy. They're so brainwashed with technocracy and a technology-centered life. This is just, every next step is just the next step. And they will, they're already in this dream world between being human and being, some of the Marvel characters. They're already in this dream world. So when technology will allow them to become more like their Marvel favorites, they will do it. Then there's a section that didn't grow up with this highly digitized stuff. They're a little harder to sell. Then there is the generation that grew up completely without that. That's the hardest sell, but they're going to find a way to do that too. The amazing comfort, the service that this will provide, a robot, whatever. There will be a selling point for every section of society. And you will see that people that disagree on just about anything, they'll all jump on this together. Wonderful. AI, let's put it in our brains. Let's put the chip in. Let's do it. It can only get better. At times I'm at a loss for words. And on and on and on and on we go. We got to smash that stop button. We got to hit it hard. And at some point, very, very soon, maybe we already passed it. I don't know. I don't know if we still have a chance to get a grip on the societal streams. I don't know. But the split, I see the split happening very, very soon, where people will make very clear decisions. Because right now we can still be here. We can still be in this space. And I sort of saw this as a possibility maybe until the end of the decade. I've been saying this. I think by the end of this decade, the latest, those of us who do not agree with any of these things, who will not go along with it, will have to leave the internet as we know it today. I think that's kind of where this is playing out. The question is, will there be an alternative? Will there be a free and sovereign system where finally the most highly evolved species in this realm, which is humans, are the most highly evolved species with the highest form of consciousness, are finally the sovereign again? Or will we simply have to step away completely from society and go and do our own thing in a very simplified way? I wouldn't mind that, frankly. I used to go into the city. We live here, outside of Nashville. I used to go into the city pretty much every day. I only go when I have to now. And I get out as fast as I can. I have no desire whatsoever to visit any city in the world right now. It's like a madhouse. And it's driven by EMF. It's driven by technology everywhere. It's disconnectedness from one another, from spirit, from everything. So these legislations to regulate all of this are on the books. Australia has their Digital Bill Act or their Digital ID Bill. And, the first thing that it says is it's on a voluntary basis. Well, let me put something in parentheses here for now. The usage of social security numbers was the same thing, just like everything else. And they have a very specific path on how they're going to require and also have an overlap between the private and the government sector. There is an act in the United States that passed on the Senate floor. for digital IDs. And we are, as I've said before, there's only a few pieces to this that are required for it to be almost irreversible. Digital/biometric/health ID is one of them. That is a huge piece. When all your identifiable personal data are stored on this here and required for you to fly, to travel, and this will get more and more and more to enter a store. Soon stores will say, listen, we don't want to pay for all the security. We don't want to have all the troubles. Listen, you just scan this real quick, and then we know that you're safe. Well, by the way, we also know you're up to date on your shots, because you can only shop at our grocery store if you're up to date on your shots. Well, did we have that before? Hold on. Yeah, we actually had that before, didn't we? Just a few short years ago. So there's going to be that element. That's one piece. Connected to that is a social credit system that's also fully digital. It monitors all your activity, because you have to check in everywhere and with everything you do, and it assigns a score to you. And that score will not only look at your behavior. Let me put it this way. Let's say that you are, you like to eat. You like to eat good, and yeah, maybe you're a little overweight, and you just like what you like. Now, that score might go down because you've been eating too much fast food, and this is not good for the overall sick care system. You're too much of a burden, maybe, so your score will go down. Now, that might limit your access to that kind of food, might limit your access to alcohol. That score might also go down because you said something on X or Truth Social or even Facebook that really was deemed misinformation, maybe even disinformation. Now, here's the thing. First, shot's a warning. But then second time, well, we're going to have to limit your access to social media. Or you're going to be on a monitored basis where before you can post something, it will be first checked by the AI to make sure it complies. This is exactly what is in their documents. Down to a T, that's within your documents. You have a social credit system with the digital ID, and you have a digital currency fully programmable, which means that $100 is not $100. It's $100 dedicated for food, water, necessities, not gas, because you're only supposed to travel 100 miles in any given month. You can use public transportation that only goes so far and only within a limited range, but this is just how it is. So that's the unholy trifecta of the digital prison: digital ID, social credits system, and the central bank or digital currency, if you will. That's the end. It's over. When that is through, and those are the only options available, it's over. Then the only thing you can do is remove yourself from society if you don't want to be in this digital prison system. And of course, this is going to be a matrix within a matrix within a matrix. It gets smaller and smaller and smaller. What will be the way out? Because you won't have a job, AI will have taken that. What will be the way out? Go into the metaverse. Hang out in the metaverse. You have universal basic income. Don't worry about that. You'll just go into metaverse. You'll just hang out there. I'm sorry for being sarcastic and cynical, but it's the truth. This is exactly what the power players that still have their stronghold on politicians and policy and the legislative bodies. This is exactly what they're doing. That is their main focus, because that's the infrastructure that is needed to bring about all the rest that they want. And that will remove the necessity for excessive police force, and it will remove the necessity for all the other stuff, because there won't even be any dissent, because it won't be possible. The human spirit, my human spirit wants to throw up when I'm seeing these things, because it is completely anti-human spirit, which this whole agenda, of course, is. It's anti-human. I encourage you to go back to the first Matrix movie and really focus on what Agent Smith said, what the AI said, how the AI thinks, and what it deems humans to be. And like somebody or a lot of people that are deeply involved in AI have said this many times before, at some point, the AI might pull enough data on humans to determine that they are the problem. It won't be emotional about it. It will be very clinical about it. If something is a problem, our system suggests that you surgically remove it. And this is inevitably what an AI will do when human emotion, human feelings, human spirit gets out of hand. Because it is designed to keep order, stability, and to keep things the way it wants things to be. Nobody wants to really talk about it. Believe it or not, it's a Debbie Downer subject. If I bring this up at a dinner conversation with quote unquote normies, like more mainstream people, well, that's a complete Debbie Downer subject. Like, this is so convenient, but we don't want to do this. And yeah, it's not going to come to that. They're never going to do this. Why would they do this? If not us, then who? Do you think there's any other reason than talking about these subjects, than really wanting to create a shift? People have accused us. What comment?
I'm starting to feel this channel is clickbait. What happened to all the dire predictions around the eclipse? Just go on to the next dire prediction.
Lisa, go back to the beginning of this live stream, please. I addressed this, and we have to. Lisa's comment about this channel being whatever she thinks it is. Please go back to the beginning of this live stream. It's not about predictions. It's about looking at a set of facts that isn't readily available to the public because it is usually displayed on some obscure websites that nobody ever visits. It's about analyzing things that are out of sight for most people and then looking, okay, there's something going on. If you think that the behavior of the state and local governments for this eclipse was justified or normal, there was something else going on in the background. I'm not saying there was some huge emergency, but through those declarations and emergencies, they were able to do things, and they did things. And we will find out in due time what those things were. We always do. But to get back to this subject here, because this is what includes everything. People have said to us, never to our face, but they've said that as anonymous commentators have said, you're just doing this for the money. Guess what? There's not a whole lot of money in this. If we were in it for anything, for the money, there would be a million other things we could do, and we would be sitting on a patio at the pool, doing 2 hours of laptop work, letting AI do everything for us, and we'd make millions every year. It's not hard to do anymore with all the tools, but it's unethical, it's inauthentic, it's not real, and it won't help anybody. And here's how we approach this. Everything that we put out, everything that we say or even recommend, I run it through one filter. Am I recommending this to my loved ones, my children, my parents, my immediate family, the people I care about the most? Do I want them to see this, hear this, or use this? And if the answer is yes, then I recommend this to our extended family here. So the conclusion here is, my friends, that this is not something that you can ignore, and this is not something that you can let somebody else take care of for you. While they have been developing complex systems, we've been playing. I'm sorry, we've been playing we've been playing the, what's that game called? Mario Kart. No, we've been playing those shuffleboard games while they've been playing complex chess, and we have to catch up. That's just how it is. However, and here's the other side of this, the reconnection with the true spirit is the fundamental answer to this, because you're only susceptible to the empty promises of AI and to the false god of AI when you have no real spiritual connection to who you truly are. When you have that, you would never, ever, under no circumstances, trade that in for the primitive technology that AI is compared to who we are, right? And how complex we are. And I'm also, I want to address this. I'm also amazed at the illogical thinking of these AI psychopaths. So their general consensus is that there is no God, there is no creator, that was just invented, and that AI indeed will be the first entity that will be as powerful as they imagine the imaginary creator is. Where's the fallacy in that thinking? The fallacy in that thinking is that where did they get the idea from that there could be something very powerful? Where do they get the idea that there could be a technology that regulates everything, is self-replicating, self-regulatory, and ultimately doesn't need any input from humans anymore? Where do they get that from? Nature? Isn't there already a system that is self-replicating, that it perfectly self-regulates, that functions beautifully, whether we, and actually it functions more beautifully when we don't do anything to it, and it's been around and it will be around? Isn't that sort of the system that they are dreaming about just in AI? And if that's the system that they're dreaming about, and they say, well, AI has an intelligent designer, which is them, well, wouldn't that system that they're trying to copy so badly have an intelligent designer? And truthfully, prime nature, which I don't think we're living in prime nature, we're living in an artificial copy version. Prime nature must be exponentially more beautiful, and this place is already pretty beautiful. So see, the fallacy in the thinking always surprises me. They're literally confirming the intelligent creator. They're not just confirming him, but actually through their praise of AI, they're almost praising the creator without understanding that they're doing so. I find nothing appealing about a technology-centered world. The world that we live in today is mostly that, and I find nothing much appealing about it. I don't think we are even close to our best selves, and it takes away more of that from us than it gives us. Because with everything that AI or technology takes over and does for us, we start losing that ability. If we don't use something, we start losing it, right? You go back to, indigenous people here in North America 100, 200 years ago, and you listen to what they could sense, and from how far away they could sense things, and how what their perception capabilities were. Now that we have all these tools, and we have meteorology, and we have all these predictive tools, we don't use those senses anymore, so they're gone. So we've lost them. So with everything that we give over to technology, we lose something. Where's the value in that? Where's the advantage in that? I don't get it. So we're going to be here. We're going to do what we do. We're going to show up every day for as long as we can. And every single day, we're going to advocate for the human spirit. We're going to advocate for, and hopefully inspire you to connect with that, because the alternative is so horrific. And we truly pray that it won't need an absolute moment of disaster for most people to turn around. It's human psychology that we only change when we're absolutely forced to. But it is a sign of human spirit and a striving for excellence to start changing before that happens. And those who have mastered certain aspects of themselves, and those who are subscribing to at least striving for excellence, they're changing before the disaster hits. So I just encourage you, baby steps. Do one thing today that your future self will thank you for. Do one thing today that will lead you in the right direction. that'll give you more freedom, more sovereignty in your life. It's as simple as that. And take another step tomorrow and another step tomorrow. Don't wait until Monday. Start today. Start now. As they say, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. My friends, I want also to invite you for the next, I think about 60 hours or so left. Christine put this beautiful design out as a limited edition. It's the Everything is Always Working Out for Me shirt. We had it out a few years ago. People loved it, and she brought it back. So for about 2 days or so, 2.5 days, it's going to be up there. The link's in the description. Check it out. People have sent us so many photos over the years with this shirt and the stories. Everything's always working out for me. Always loved that mantra. All right, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for being with us. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll be back with you again very, very soon.